So I'm going to show you guys how to make little spoons. Okay, so you're going to have a couple options. So you can either make it out of cherry wood, or you can make it out of walnut. Okay, I do have some other harder woods, but these actually came from trees. So since it was from donated wood, it'll be free. So free stuff's always good stuff. Okay, so once you get your piece of wood, okay, your blank, what you need to do is you need to draw your spoon on it. Okay? It's a little hard to see on here, so I'm just going to use a fine liner and draw it out a little bit better. So like this one I have fits nice in my hand, but the scoop part is a little bit too small. I would make it a little bit bigger. So I've made another one, which I'm going to try and make a little bit bigger. Okay. Their drawings nicely curved on them. Okay. Some people, when they freehand draw, they have weird looking squiggly spoons. So unless you want your spoon to look like that, try to make it look nice. I do have some special jigs around, so if you want to make perfect circles, or if you want to make ovals, I have these. So if you want to make nice shapes, you can use these. So for example, I use this oval to make that on here, okay? So once you've got your nice spoon drawn out on whatever wood you choose, then you're gonna need a few different tools. Do you guys know what this is?
Clamp?
Clamp. Do you know what kind of clamp it is?
Quick clamp?
Okay.
You clamp or quick clamp?
Not a quick clamp.
Whatever.
Say it again. Yeah, what'd you say? F clamp, because it looks like the letter F, exactly. And then we have C clamps because it looks like the letter C, okay? Now, for this project, I recommend you guys use metal clamps, just because some of the quick clamps that you can use with one hand don't grab as hard. And when you're chiseling on this, your piece of wood could move around. So I recommend using some kind of metal clamp, okay? So then once you get that all drawn out, you're gonna want to clamp it to your table, make sure it's nice and secure so it's not gonna move anywhere. And then once you got that ready, then you're gonna need some other tools. What do we got here? Wooden mallet, okay? So if you need more wooden mallets, I have some here, and then we got a bunch along the wall in the back. So whenever we're using mallet with a combination of one of these, so what is this? Chisel. Not just any kind of chisel. It has a nice little U shape. So this is a gouge chisel, okay? So I got a bunch here, and they come in different shapes and sizes. So depending on how big your spoon is, you might want to use a different shape one, okay? But I'm going to use these to curve down either with my hands or with a combination of the mallet to carve out the scoop, okay? And when you're doing this, you're going to want to be careful not to try and tear out the wood, because then it leads to more sanding down the road, okay? So since we're using striking tools with the mallet, you need to make sure you got safety glasses on. So since we still need to get your guys' own personal glasses, we'll borrow some from over there. Okay. Or if you want to wear fancy face shields, we can give you face shields if you don't want to wear safety glasses. Okay. Now, once you've got to this, you're going to have kind of an outside oval or circle and a smaller one on the inside. What you're going to do then is you're going to take one of the gouge chisels, and we'll make sure they're sharp, so if I need to sharpen them, I'll sharpen them. So what we're going to do is on this inside oval, I'm going to hold my chisel on an angle, and I'm going to tap around the entire profile and kind of get the scoop started, okay? So I'm going to put this on the edge, just give it a little tap, and I'm going to do this all the way around my spoon, okay? And just make sure your chisel's not straight up and down. You want to start on a bit of an angle, okay? You need to be careful. You should never, ever, ever cut toward yourself, okay? Always have the chisel move away from you, and make sure that you or no one else is on the path of the tool so that no one gets hurt, okay? So once you've got this started, then what you're going to do is from both sides, you're going to start working to the middle, okay? So we're going to take this and start working towards the middle. And make sure you do it from both sides, just so it doesn't tear on the good side of your spoon. So if there's any tearing, it happens in the middle. And if you have to, like I can chisel for both sides like this. If you find that's uncomfortable, unclamp it, spin it around. So if you find it comfortable to only go one way, then adjust your tools and your piece of wood to make it comfortable for you. Now, depending on the wood and how sharp your chisels are, and depending on how strong you are, you might be able to use this without a mallet. So for example, once I get to the point where I've kind of started this, I can almost take my hands and put it on the edge, and I can kind of start carving it by hand like this. And just kind of slowly scoop out what I want. And start working down toward the middle. Okay. So I want this to be deeper. And if you find doing it like this difficult, then just use the mallet, maybe a little bit easier. One person wanting to make a sport. Is anyone else wanting to make a sport? You don't? Why not? Difficult?
Why don't you just make a spoon and cut off?
No, yeah, it's really, no, it's not that bad. You shouldn't. I would say if you want to make a sport, we should make a sport. But so totally up to you. You don't have to. And then the one thing you want to just try to avoid is having it chip and tear out, because you're going to have to come back afterwards and sand it. Okay? And the more tearing there is, the more sanding you're going to have to do. Alright, so we got our nice spoon. Once you get to this point, then you want to sand this out, get rid of any rough edges and make it nice and smooth. So to do that, we're going to get some really rough sandpaper. Okay. So something like this. So this is, I think 50 grit sandpaper. So either like 50, 60, or 80 grit sandpaper. What you're going to want to do is you're going to want to just basically go in here and you're just going to just work it back and forth like this with the sandpaper. And what you want to do is you want to make that as smooth as possible. Okay. And then once you've got this figured out, then after I've given you guys a demo on how to use the bandsaw, then we can cut this out using the bandsaw. Okay. And then you guys would use relief cuts, and then we could cut this out and then take it to the sanders and have a nice spoon from it. It's a pretty quick project. And then after that, once it's all nicely sanded and fits to your hand, to your liking, then from there we put a food safe finish on it, and then you can start eating it. It's pretty cool. So this won't take hopefully too long for you guys to build, but you guys excited to make a little spoon? Can you do it now?
I see these.
All right, so I think we're good.